Good afternoon, South Plains. We are coming to you with another update. It's Amanda with Lubbock Area United Way. We are sitting down today with Derek Danner, who is the Executive Director for the Children's Advocacy Center. I'll let Derek explain a little bit about what they do, but we really wanted to connect with him because it is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and Go Blue Lubbock is how we recognize that here locally. At Derek's organization works directly with kids who have unfortunately been victims of abuse. So Derek, why don't you just tell the folks a little bit about who you guys are and what you guys do when things are normal?
Sure. We work with abused and neglected children. Those come from referrals from law enforcement and the Department of Family and Protective Services, some more commonly known as CPS. And we do that for Lubbock County and the surrounding 14 counties. We provide family advocacy for those families, forensic interviews. We do trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy for the victims and the non-offending caregivers as well. We're out in the community teaching education, body safety to the children in the school systems, and then recognizing and reporting to those that work with children on how to recognize signs of child abuse and then what to do and how to report that.
Fantastic, Derek. Why don't you give a little bit of an explanation? Certainly don't go too deep into details because I know it can be hard, but forensic interviews, I think that's a phrase that we hear in connection with CSI or something like that, but explain what it means for you guys.
It's just an interview that is open-ended questions, specifically for children. We don't elicit any information other than what they can tell us. And so it's just an open-ended interview with the child in a child-friendly environment to get what's going on in their homes or in their lives.
Thanks, Derek, for that. And the hope is that those kids then only really have to tell that story once, that they don't have to repeat those stories over and over again once they've shared that with you guys, and avoid having secondary trauma that comes from sharing that story again. So life looks a little bit different for you guys right now as it does for all of us. Tell us how have things have changed for Children's Advocacy Center with the COVID-19 crisis?
Well, since this got started, we've kind of evolved as it gone on, following the guidelines set forth by the governor and then also the mayor here in the city. We went to working half day for staffs and alternating some staff in the morning, some staff in the afternoon. But as things progressed, we are now working remotely from home, which we're able to do, and only calling in the family advocate forensic interviewer when an interview is scheduled. So we're limiting, keeping our social distancing. We're also able to use our therapy office. So if we have two scheduled at the same time, we can conduct those at two different locations using our mobile equipment. And our therapy has moved to teletherapy. And so we're providing that service through that venue.
That's great. I think a lot of our partners have had to go to some sort of teletherapy or something like that to work with their clients. And that's great that y'all have been able to move that to continue to help your kids and families move through that trauma narrative and through their counseling to get the healing that they need. So Derek, before we got started talking, we were here recording, we were talking about how the numbers you guys have seen hasn't really shifted. Tell us a little bit about that. How many cases have y'all seen for March? How many cases have y'all seen for this week? And what 2020 in general has looked like?
In March, we conducted 67 forensic interviews. 30 of those happened from spring break Monday the 16th to the end of the month. And by the end of this week, we've already done, by the end of today, 19 interviews this week and 4 last week. So we'll have done 23 for April so far. The intakes, we also review statewide intakes, which are the reports that people make that go to the FPS. We review those for Lubbock County and 11 other counties that we serve. Those reports really in March, we didn't see go down. We did 356 intakes for Lubbock County alone in March, 117 in those other counties. As of yesterday, when I counted, we had done 67 statewide intakes, Lubbock County, and about 20 in the other counties. I haven't looked at it today, but the reports may slow down, but the investigations continue for those partner agencies that we work with, and we're doing everything we can to provide the services.
So Derek, I know it's impossible for you to say exactly how the COVID-19 crisis is going to affect child abuse in Lubbock County and the South Plains. But you did mention that you'd kind of seen an increase in those last weeks of March when things really started changing here locally. What are some of y'all's concerns around the COVID-19 crisis and how that may or may not affect child abuse in our area?
Well, the shelter in place is a sensible form of self-protection, but it can also be a really dangerous place for our most vulnerable population, which is the kids that are there. My kids I have grandkids, so my kids are doing something that my wife and I never had to do, which is have our kids home and teach them school. I'm not even sure how that would have went for us. So that's just another added stressor in life, the situation, maybe loss of job, technology, having to find forms of technology so you can do those things. That's going to lead to frustration, but your kids are going to be frustrated too. Frustration's not bad. It's natural for all of us to get frustrated, but you don't want to take it out on your children. And for those that it already takes place in their home, they're just there that full time now. And so I really kind of fear for those.
Sure. Last week we sat down with Carla Olson over at the Parenting Cottage, and that was one of the things that we talked about, is trying to figure out how to parent during this world, because even parents who, on a normal basis might not hurt their children, when you add all of this stress and all of this anxiety and all of the instability, parents can do things that they would never imagine themselves doing. We can all do things that we would never imagine ourselves doing. And that makes it that much more important for us to all be taking care of our mental health right now, for us all to be taking a step back, go for a walk, do something to separate ourselves from a situation when we feel that frustration rising. Derek, is there any advice that you can give to folks maybe who they are in a situation where things are unstable and stressed, or maybe their next door neighbor or a family member and they see something going on and they're not sure exactly what to do?
Well, we need to check on our neighbors, and if you know your friends and all, and those that are in the situation of having to teach or have their kids home at school, check on them, have conversations with them. Give yourself a timeout. There's nothing wrong with that. Put your kid in a room in timeout. Maybe give yourself some timeout. Give yourself some space to think and really just calm down and rethink the process. It's not easy for anybody. We like structure. We're used to things in our life, for the most part, going a certain way and a plan for each day, and we don't have that right now. So we're all kind of trying to figure it out together, but we also need to help each other do that. So if you can step in or just make a phone call and say, hey, are you the teacher or the principal today? Or, something to kind of lighten the mood, maybe that will help eliminate some of the frustrations.
That's great advice, Derek. I think, I'm home with my kids. I'm home with my 3-year-old, and bless him, he doesn't understand why mommy's working when he wants mommy to play. And it's difficult to set those boundaries, but I think there is an opportunity for us to come together as neighbors and community right now. And that's the way that we will make sure our child abuse rate doesn't go up, because we're all checking in on each other. But also maybe we can even bring it down if we check on each other. And that's the whole thing of what Go Blue Lubbock is about, and what Child Abuse Prevention Month is about, is really raising awareness and connecting with folks and helping parents be parents, because it doesn't come naturally and it's not easy. So Derek, if somebody is in crisis, or if somebody knows somebody in crisis, what exactly do they need to do?
Well, the standard in the Texas Family Code for reporting abuse and neglect is a cause to believe. That's not a lot. If you have those concerns, it's always better to call or make a report online with DFPS. That will get the ball rolling so we can check in. It may end up being absolutely nothing. It may be uh, overblown, but at least we're covering that base. And I'd rather be safe than sorry in those instances. Again, just checking on one another, being kind to one another, and remember that your children didn't ask for this any more than you did as the as as the adult. So, and like I said, it's new. My kids are going through something I never had to go through. So, uh, I don't have a whole lot of advice for them other than just to keep encouraging them and step in if needed, if they ask, for relief or whatnot, because it can be a lot. I understand that.
Derek, that's great advice, and I appreciate you talking and sharing with you. We will share the links to the website and the hotline. So if you do see something, say something. You don't have to be the expert on abuse. You don't have to know for sure that something's happening. What you have to know is if you suspect something and you think something looks strange, report it, say something, and let somebody else figure out what's going on there. So Derek, thank you again for your time. Thank you, South Plains. We will continue to bring these excerpts to you as long as the crisis is going on and help you connect to resources in our community. Thanks, everyone.
Remember to wear blue on Friday. Go blue.